students, welcome to the second part of organizational HR strategies, and this is the subject of strategic human resource management, and I am Dr. Tripti Barthwal. I am Director, Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management and Development Studies, Lucknow. So, in the last session on organizational HR strategies, we have seen that strategic human resource would include things like organizational development, culture management, knowledge management, developing trust in people. So, we have been discussing these one by one. So, we have already covered organizational development and culture management in the earlier lecture. Now, we move from there to the next part, and this is what we have had discussed in the earlier session, that it is an organizational wide process of organizational development, culture management, knowledge management, developing a climate of high commitment and trust. So, out of these, this and this we have already discussed in the first lecture prior to this, and this also was a part of the earlier session, that this requires a holistic approach through integrated HR strategies, which include resourcing, development, reward, compensation, employee relations, etc. So, we move on from there, and we will discuss about first knowledge management. Now, I mean, in this time, the current time is the time of knowledge. Any person who, or any organization which possesses the latest knowledge and which also possesses the right knowledge at the right place and at the right time can develop a very good, viable, sustainable competitive advantage. So, that is the importance of knowledge management, and hence knowledge is the most important weapon which an organization can have to combat competition. So, with that perspective, we will start discussing about knowledge management. So, knowledge management is the process of creating, sharing, using and managing the knowledge and information of an organization. So, there are certain important things here. First, the organization has to create knowledge, then it has to share knowledge, and share with whom? Share with the employees of the organization. So, if knowledge is centralized at a place, if few people only possess knowledge in the organization, rest are not aware, right, then that knowledge is waste, that knowledge does not yield any result. And then you have to not only share, you have to implement that, you have to put it into use, then only it can give you results. Otherwise, knowledge which is not put to use, is not implemented, is a waste. And managing the knowledge and information of an organization. So, you have to manage the knowledge in such a way that whenever people want to use it, whenever people want to retrieve it, then it is available, and it is available in a very user friendly format. So, it refers to a multidisciplinary approach to achieve organizational objectives by making the best use of knowledge. So, whatever knowledge resources the organization has, the organization, if it is I mean through the process of knowledge management, it should be able to bring out the best from whatever knowledge resources it possesses. Now, the three main areas of knowledge management. The first area is accumulating knowledge, the second area is storing knowledge, and the third is sharing knowledge. Now, you must have heard about this this famous story wherein there was a problem in a there was this very famous factory, and there was a very sophisticated machine which suddenly stopped working. So, there was lot of chaos, because a very important order had to be fulfilled, and it was dependent on the working of that machine. So, now this machine was imported from some other country. So, if the company would have waited for the engineer to come from that country, it would have taken maybe a week's time or more than that. So, they could afford to wait that long, but there was no other option. So, they started thinking what they should do. So, one of the the person said said, the employee said that I know somebody who can maybe repair this machine, who can start this machine and make it function. So everybody said, oh, bring that person. Now this person came, he said, I am a consultant and I can repair this machine. So the manager or whoever was in charge, he said, yes, you do it. So what he did, he took out a small tool from his toolbox and he tapped the machine at a particular point thrice, and suddenly the machine started working, and everybody was relieved and everybody was so happy. So now everybody was, since everybody was happy, and they thanked that gentleman, and they said that how much should we pay you? So he said that $10,000. So the manager was taken aback. $10,000? So he said that this person is trying to fool them. So he said that itemize the bill, tell me, just as we get in certain receipts that this product is for this much, this was and then we get the total. So he also said that itemize the bill. So when the consultant said, okay, I'll do that, and within 5 minutes he brought out that detailed bill, and the manager was shocked to see in that detailed bill it was written that $1 for tapping the machine and $9,999 to know where to tap the machine, right. So that is the importance of knowledge. Anybody can act on the knowledge, but from where it will come, what is how it will be filtered, how will it be put to use, that is very, very important. So there are three main areas of knowledge management. First is accumulating knowledge, that from where are the sources from which I can get knowledge, then how I store that knowledge, and how it is transmitted to people. So the first part of knowledge management is, it starts from raw data. Any sharing of knowledge will, or any creation of knowledge will start with raw data. We will collect facts and figures. So collecting, and then it has to be organized according to the different headings or maybe the different requirements. Knowledge has to be, the data has to be organized. Then the second part will be information. Now once this data is processed, you all must be knowing that processed data is called information. So once this data is processed, and process means summarizing, analyzing, so you kind of get a gist of what the data is saying, you try to analyze that how it was different from the last year, or what meaning you can decipher from it. So that is the second step. So now the data has been converted into information. Now it has become a source of value to the company. Now it has become understandable also. And now from information, what will happen? From information, knowledge will be created. And how it will be created? Synthesizing. Synthesizing means knowledge available from different sources. Several pieces of information we have. You must have seen the jigsaw puzzle. There are several pieces, and generally children try to fit in the pieces to make a perfect picture. Similarly, we have knowledge available from different sources. So how we put this knowledge together to derive something which is much beyond that information. So that is synthesizing of knowledge, and how we use it for decision making. How better decisions can be. We have lot of knowledge, but I cannot use it for decision making, then it becomes a waste. So knowledge will be of value, it will mean something to the person or to the organization only when it can be used to take decisions. So this is an example of Siemens AG. It is a multi-billion dollar conglomerate. It is one of the world's largest and most successful companies. it needed to share knowledge more effectively among its nearly 500,000 employees around the globe. So, the problem was, we have just discussed that knowledge management consists of 3 steps or 3 elements or main components, that is from where you get that knowledge, how you store that knowledge and how you share that knowledge. So, Siemens was facing this problem of how it must disseminate the knowledge, how it must share the knowledge, because its employees were spread throughout the globe, and the number you can see 500,000 employees. So, in 1996 a group interested in knowledge management organized into a community of interest. So, these employees who were interested in sharing of the knowledge, they made a community of interest. They examined how knowledge management in its infancy could be exploited at Siemens. So, very earlier stage of knowledge, when knowledge is being developed, from there itself it can be used to create a lot of things to make a difference in the organization. These mid-level managers, so this group was consisting of mid-level managers, began to develop communities of practice. And what is community of practice, or COP, is a group of individuals responsible for creating, refining and maintaining knowledge in its area of expertise. So, whosoever specializes in whatever area, that person is responsible for creating and then refining that what is required, what can be given away, I mean that does not concern our organization, so that can be done away with. Maintaining knowledge in the area of expertise, knowledge repositories, that is huge libraries of knowledge, and methods to share knowledge. In 1999, upper management recognized the importance of these efforts. Its central board created a organizational knowledge management unit. So, you can see for yourself that with the pursuance of the employees, there was nothing from the top management, but the employees, because they realized the importance of knowledge management to improve the functioning and the decision making of the organization, they themselves voluntarily organized themselves into group or community of interest and community of practice, and because of them it was then the management realized how important it is, and then it created its own knowledge management unit. So, that is the importance of knowledge management. And I am reminded of an incident in one of the books which I read, that when NASA, NASA, what NASA is. So, once for the first time it launched its spacecraft, then it got a certain amount of budget from the government. Now, after a few years, again NASA thought of sending another mission to the space. So, they approached the government again. Now, the government asked for the budget. Now, this budget which they proposed to the government was many times higher than the last budget. So, the government representatives asked them that how come first time there could be a lot of hit and try and experimentation, so a lot of waste, so we can understand the high budget. But the second time, once you have already done something, then the budget should be lower. Of course, you have to account for the rise in the prices of your things, but otherwise the budget should be lower. So, it was realized that why the budget was higher was because there was no proper concept of knowledge management there. When the first mission was sent, after that time there was a gap in the second mission. So, many employees who had worked in the first mission, the many scientists, some of them had died, some of them had retired, some of them had left the organization, and those who were remaining, there was not much thing documented. So, written things were missing also. So, as a result of that, they had to start from the scratch, and that is why the budget was higher, much higher than the last time. So, from there they realized that how important it is to share knowledge, how important it is to store knowledge, right, accumulate knowledge, because then next time it is going to give a lot of benefits to the organization. Now, this is an example, a case of Titan Industries. Titan Industries is the 5th largest integrated watch manufacturer in the world. So, early in 2006, Titan's leaders identified 2 areas of enormous potential to learn from its experiences to build a framework for continued success: knowledge management and sales. So, they realized that in 2006, as early as that, they realized, the management of Titan realized 2 things which can continually lead to success if they focus on these 2 things, and that is, of course, sales is an integral part because it is a driver for profits and revenue, but the second was surprisingly knowledge management. Prior to developing in knowledge management systems, most internal documents were stored and retrieved manually. So, prior to 2006, whatever knowledge they had, that was stored in form of paper documents, and they were stored and then they were retrieved manually. There was no standardized workflow for collaboration. So, there were no guidelines how departments would collaborate, how where other cross functional teams would collaborate as far as retrieving of this knowledge is concerned, or how they should exchange, different departments should exchange relevant knowledge with each other, how different teams should exchange relevant knowledge with each other. So, there was no system regarding that. Finding information in documents was difficult. As a result of that, if you had to search for a document, since there was no system, proper system, formal system, it was very difficult. People used to find it hard to remember where the document was placed and from where they can get it back. So, only by institutionalizing its knowledge could past successes be replicated. So, they realized that if they create a system wherein they store and they are able to easily retrieve the knowledge, then only the past they can achieve something from what they have done good in the past. Thus, Titan implemented a knowledge management portal as a key component of its business strategy to continue delivering innovative products and services to the customer. So, as a result of creation of this portal, everybody could store whatever they felt was relevant knowledge into this portal, and then it could be refined, it could be retrieved from anywhere, person sitting from anywhere in their unit, and it could be thus easily very conveniently shared by employees of the organization. So, that created major breakthrough for Titan Industries, and that led to lot of information knowledge sharing in the organization. Now, thus after this knowledge management, the next part of organizational HR strategy is how to develop commitment in the organization. So, commitment strategy. Now, commitment is something which is very difficult to assess also, to understand also, and to develop in employees. Commitment refers to feelings of attachment and loyalty to the organization and the willingness to contribute to organizational objectives. So, in very simple terms, you can say that commitment is a feeling of attachment. When you feel that you belong to this organization, when you feel that you do not want to leave this organization, right. So, that is a feeling. Then when you feel that this is my organization, right, when you feel a feeling of affection for the organization, then that is a sense of attachment. And loyalty is that you are not ready to go against the interest of the organization. You are not ready for any benefit which is being offered by anybody to you. You are not ready to sacrifice the interest of the organization for your own personal well-being or your own personal interest. So, that is commitment. And then of course, it creates a willingness to contribute to organizational objectives. So, commitment strategy is concerned with the development of communication. So, when you want to have committed employees, when you want to develop a high level of commitment in employees, the first thing which you need to focus on is communication. Effective communication flowing between employees and management enhances feelings of trust between management and employees. So, when there is lot of transparency in the organization, when it is, there is nothing hidden, right, when there is no fear that something is being said on the face, but something is being discussed inside, or something is being meant, something is being said, but the implied meaning is something else, then there is lot of insecurity in people, in employees. And what happens as a result of insecurity, people either they think of leaving the organization, right, or they cannot give their 100% of the into the organization, because once you are in a state of fear, then you cannot give, you cannot enjoy anything, and you cannot give your 100% to wherever you are, whatever you are doing. So communication is very, very important to develop commitment. So effective communication flowing between employees and management enhances feelings of trust between management and employees, ultimately resulting in stronger commitment to each other and the organization. Second thing which the organization can do is to train the employees. So after the organization has clarified everything to the employees and clarified what they are going to do through communication, and what are the expectations from the employee, why they are bringing out this change in the organization, why they are implementing this strategy, everything is clarified to the employee. There is no misunderstanding, though there is no doubt in the employees. Then the second thing which the organization has to concentrate on or to focus on is the training of employees to develop commitment. Now training helps in enhancing commitment, because through it employees' competencies are enhanced and they receive confidence and respect in their team. So for example, if a person does not know how to do his job well, what will happen? He will always either remain in the fear of being caught, right? Somebody catches him and realizes that he is not fit for his position, then this person will whatever he can do also, he will not be able to do that. And secondly, he will always be the butt of jokes of his team members, because his team members will always feel that he is a burden for the team, that he should not be there in the team, he should not be treated at par with them, because they are contributing a lot towards the team's performance, but this person is letting the team down. Now though this person wants to perform, yet he is not able to perform, not because he lacks the willingness to perform, but he does not have the skills to perform. So skills are something, if you have the willingness, then the skills are something which you can very easily learn. So training helps there. So because it as has been mentioned, that it enhances competency, it enhances commitment, because employees' competencies are enhanced. Now once you start working well, if you start performing efficiently, what happens as a result of that? The employees compensation increases, he is appreciated, he is most wanted in the organization, so he feels nice to come to the office every day. So he feels a he develops a feeling of belongingness to the organization, and he also earns the respect of his fellow beings. The fellow beings also say, team members also feel that whenever they will have a problem, they can go to this person because he is very sound in technical skills. So that is how training enhances commitment. Then next is developing ownership. Now what is ownership? We said that one part of commitment is developing a sense of loyalty to the organization. This is done by involving employees in decisions affecting them. Now if you take the suggestions, if you take the feedback of employees, if you allow two-way communication in the organization, so before taking any decision, let's take the views of the employees, then what happens? They feel that they have taken that decision. And once they feel that they have been party to the decision, then they will go out of their way to see that the decision is successfully implemented. The decision is a success. People tend to kind of pull back those decisions where they feel which have been forced upon them. So, one of the reasons, very important reasons why Japanese organizations have been so successful and they have been so respected throughout the world is like they go for a bottom up approach of decision making. That is decisions or ideas related to a particular area or to a particular department comes from the employees of the department, and then it travels to the head of the department, then to the next head, and then to the next head, and then finally they will go to the top management. The top management, so lot of, at every step lot of filtering is taking place of the ideas, and the top management will simply see whether the idea is feasible, right, in terms of budget, in terms of practicability, and if it is fine that ways, it will simply put its seal of approval. And then what happens as a result of that, that the decision is implemented at such a speed that you cannot even imagine, because now employees are knowing that what they meant by the decision, they need not to be explained, they need not to be motivated that they should implement the decision because it is their decision. On the contrary, in Western world, in corporations, what happens, it is a top down model of decision making, that is the decision making will be done by the top management, and the the lower levels of the organization will simply implement the decision. So, the decision making is happening very fast, decisions are taking very fast because the top management meets and they decide certain things, but its implementation is very slow because it has to seep down through several layers of employees, and then the employees should feel comfortable, they should feel associated with that decision, then only they will implement it in the best possible way. So, many times that creates a barrier in decision making. So, you have the organization needs to create a feeling of ownership in the organization, that this is my organization, this is my decision, this is for my betterment, this is for the good of my organization, and then only they will develop a sense of commitment. Then the next is developing job engagement. Now, job engagement does not only has the potential to significantly affect employee retention and productivity, it is also a key link to customer satisfaction, company reputation, and overall stakeholder value. So, I may like my organization, right, I may like my organization, but I do not enjoy the work which I perform, I do not enjoy the job which has been assigned to me. What will happen as a result of that? My commitment level will go down. It is like somebody who is acting in a movie and he is like, the script of the movie is very nice, everything about the movie is very nice, but I do not like my own role in the movie. So, how will that actor or that actress give the best to that particular role in the movie? So, similarly, I like the organization, I like everything about it, but I do not like the task which has been assigned to me. And if that is the case, then what will happen? The person will ultimately think of leaving the organization. Even if he does not or she does not leave the organization, then productivity may go down, performance will go down, and obviously when performance of the employee goes down, when he does not feel a sense of engagement with his job, what will happen? The customer satisfaction will go down, company reputation will be affected, and when all this will happen, obviously the stakeholder value will also go down. Then performance management. So, in order to improve the commitment level of employees and to enhance it, we have to also have the right system of performance management. So, right performance management practices can enhance employee commitment. For this, it is important to encourage managers to include employees in the goal setting process. So, this is quite related to the part of developing ownership, that once decisions are taken together, once employees are not just the implementers of decisions, but they are important part of the decision making process, what will happen? automatically performance will come, because what they have suggested with a great thought that whether they will be able to do it or not. So, there will be no question whether employees will be able to do it or not, but once decisions come from top management, there can always be doubts and there can always be reasons and questions that it will whether the employees will be able to perform properly or not. Then the last part is strategies to develop trust. You know, how can we enhance trust in the organization? Every professional relationship should be built on a foundation of trust, and not only professional but personal relationships, but because we are talking in terms of SHRM, so we will talk about professional relationships. Here trust is built from top to down. So, trust is like the top management believing in the employees, making them feel that they are trusted, and then only employees also develop a feeling of trust. It is never developed bottom up. Even if the employees trust the top management, then also if the top management does something which is counter to it, then all the trust will be broken. Trust building strategies include the following: making connection. So, first, you know, employees should believe that they are emotionally connected to the organization. Transparency, which we have already discussed, that very clear communication lines, and giving credit and appreciation, recognition to employees for whatever good they have done, and there should not be any bias or discrimination, otherwise employees do not feel a sense of trust with the organization. So, this is about the organizational HR strategies. So, we finish off with those, and we have discussed all the parts of organizational HR strategies. Thank you.